This is Wave News Sunrise.
Good morning and happy Friday to you. It's now 6 o'clock on your Friday morning. I'm Olivia Russell in for Shannon Kogan with meteorologist Tawana Andrew, and it's a lot calmer here in the Weather Center this morning.
Yeah, just watching the fog, which is going to impact a lot of people's morning commute, but it's not like having like strong storms in the area.
Right.
So I'm a little less panicked on a morning like this. But what we're seeing overall, of course, that fog continuing to develop across the area, and we'll watch that continuing to happen through sunrise. So that is something to keep in mind. Looking into Bardstown right now, or at least trying to, it's very difficult to even see the roads because of that fog becoming a little bit more dense. And we do have that dense fog advisory in place for those of you along and south of 64 until 10 a.m. This is where we're seeing the visibility less than a mile in most locations. So from E-Town to Fort Knox to Bardstown to especially near Springfield, this is where that fog is certainly more dense. So if you live near where there's a lot of trees or live near a body of water, or you got some of that heavy rain yesterday, most likely you're going to be dealing with this fog this morning. Now, while it's most dense further to the south, we are seeing some of that patchy fog showing up in portions of Indiana and the Louisville metro as well. So everyone just needs to be aware and take it slow and use those low beams for this morning. While the fog will keep developing through around 7 a.m., we're going to watch it mixing out after 8, 9 o'clock this morning, with more improvements gradually happening as we get towards lunch. For some of you with the most dense fog, it may take until lunch to completely get rid of it. Now, once we get into this afternoon, we're talking a mix of sun and clouds across the area as we warm into the mid to upper 80s for highs for most of us. An alert day is out for your Sunday as we watch for several rounds of storms in the forecast, as we will see a warm front and a cold front moving through on Sunday. So wind, hail, some of the threats that we'll be looking at. But for the second half of the day, that severe threat will be fully dependent on what happens earlier in the morning. So this is a forecast that we have to watch very, very closely because they can easily change. So make sure you have that Wave Weather app downloaded now as we continue to keep an eye on it. But I'll talk more about what we're seeing on Sunday and also about that fog that we're dealing with right now in just a bit.
All right, we'll have that weather app ready for Sunday. Thank you, Tawana. This morning, we're learning more about a shooting involving Louisville Metro Police. New details into the newsroom overnight explain a little bit more about what happened as the investigation continues. We now know one person is dead. This happened late last night off Frankfort Avenue and New Main Street. That's near the Quills Coffee Shop and Veronese Restaurant in Clifton. Police spoke to us last night about the victim and the investigation. Wave News reporter Kathleen Ninke is live there this morning where that shooting took place, breaking down those details. Kathleen.
And we do have more details, Olivia, but not many. Here we are 7.5 hours after this officer-involved shooting, and the scene is completely clear. An hour and a half ago, this was crawling with police. Now there's not a hint of crime scene tape. Quill's Coffee that you mentioned is open now, just opened at 6 a.m. We're seeing people jogging through. What you can still smell in the air is that ammonia scent that we know the firefighters on scene often use to sanitize a scene. So an idea of what happened here over the last several hours. Let me take you back to about 11:30 p.m. when we were out there an hour after this shooting. So this is soon after it all happened, about 10:30 last night. You see the large police presence then, certainly. We do know the person who was shot and killed by police was a white man appearing to be in his mid-30s. The chief says officers were shot at first. It's unclear if LMPD is still working to identify him or if they already know and they're just not releasing his name yet. So here's the bare bones timeline that you gave us around midnight.
Our preliminary information suggests that around 9:56 p.m. in the 5th Division, officers received a call for shots fired in the area of the 2000 block of New Main. The first officer arrived on scene at approximately 10:01 p.m. At 10:19, officers reported on the radio that shots were being fired at them. At 10:31 p.m., officers reported the individual was down near the 2000 block of Frankfort Avenue. Officers immediately rendered aid and called for EMS. The individual was transported to U of L, where he succumbed to his injuries.
The chief also told us including no officers were hurt in this shooting. What happens next is that investigation. The police chief says LMPD itself will be taking the lead on that investigation. Per the department's officer-involved shooting policies that I just looked at, that investigation will come from, or at least include, the Public Integrity Unit of LMPD, but also outside agencies like the Commonwealth's Attorney of Jefferson County should be involved in this. So the chief did not mention Kentucky State Police possibly being involved in this investigation, which is something we'll be asking about because we know that often in officer-involved shootings in a department, KSP comes in from the outside to investigate it. But at this point, we have no indication that that specifically will happen. We're expecting more information today. How much, we don't really know, but we have been told by the PIO of LMPD that more information likely won't come until after midday today. Sending things back to you in the studio, Olivia. Live here in the Clifton neighborhood, Kathleen Ninke, Wave News.
All right, Kathleen, thank you for that update there. A man is charged in a deadly shooting this week in Louisville after he was arrested in Indiana. Benjamin Strange was arrested in Clark County. Police say he shot and killed a man on Idlewild Drive. Strange is charged with murder and will eventually be extradited back to Kentucky. The name of the victim has not been released yet. The Mount Washington man who police say had stolen human remains decorating his home will be arraigned today in federal court, but not on those charges related to the human remains. According to the criminal complaint, James Knott was part of a ring of purchasing and selling stolen human remains, some of which were tied to the Harvard Medical School scandal, which the FBI also recently busted. There were as many as 40 skulls in his Mount Washington home, including one on the bed where Knott slept. Now, 3 weeks later, an official indictment has been handed down, and still no charges related to the human remains. He's charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Authorities found an AK-type rifle, a revolver, and ammo at a time when Knott was already a felon stemming from other gun charges back in 2011. August 14th is the first day the city could potentially burn down the house on Applegate Lane that's full of hazardous and explosive chemicals. But next Monday, on August 7th, some neighbors will be able to voice their own concerns about the case. This comes as the city released new pictures showing how cluttered the home is. So here's a look inside the house, and you can see why the mayor says it's impossible for robots to move the remaining hazardous and explosive chemicals. The city is still not releasing a list of the chemicals found inside the home because of the ongoing criminal investigation, but confirms there are still explosive chemicals inside. Last night, a team of 100 city leaders and first responders went door to door to more than 900 homes around the property. Mayor Craig Greenberg said he won't sign off on the burn plan until he's satisfied it's complete and safe for the public and first responders.
We are concerned about everything, and that's why we are doing this. That's why we are taking our time. That's why we're working with as many experts as we need to.
We talked with one neighbor who lives next door. She's worried her property will end up being damaged in the burn. Others worry about how to quickly evacuate when the time comes.
We have medically challenged kids, and so we have extra equipment that goes along with that. And then we have a handicapped daughter, which is in a wheelchair. So accessibility is a big thing.
Neighbors will be able to give more input at a meeting on Monday. It's at 6:30 at Highview Baptist Church. It's open to only people living in the neighborhood, though, so you'll need to bring proof of residency like a photo ID or mail. Meanwhile, Mark Hibble, the man who police say had the explosive chemicals inside the home, is also facing new charges of burglary and wanton endangerment. He's accused of squatting in a house next door to the one he owns. Metro Councilman Ben Reno Weber is hosting a community meeting this weekend about violence near Bardstown Road after a deadly triple shooting early Monday morning. This shooting happened around 3 a.m. near Bardstown and Bonnycastle. 31-year-old Ricky Kemp was killed. Another man and woman were shot too. No arrests have been made yet in this case. Reno Weber wants as many people as possible to come to Sunday's meeting, so District 8 is working to provide child care and offering free Uber rides. The meeting is Sunday from 5 until 6:30 at Douglas Boulevard Christian Church. Representatives from LMPD, the Office for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods, and Alcohol Beverage Control will be there. West Louisville is getting a new middle school for the first time in more than 90 years. Hudson Middle School is named after Louisville civil rights activist J. Blaine Hudson. The school's mission is similar to Hudson's: learn, lead, and serve. Teachers will also help guide students to their future careers. Hudson Middle School will temporarily be in the old Wheatley Elementary School building until a brand new school can be built. 3 generations of Hudson's family were at yesterday's reveal.
A lot of times the family kind of took a back step to the community. So for us, this is a legacy that is for the community. It is the community, not just ours.
This school year, only 6th grade students will attend. The 7th grade will be added next year, and they'll eventually add the 8th grade. Hardin County school students head back to class next week. The district expects big growth over the coming years thanks to Fort Knox and a new electric battery plant. District leaders say they're moving toward more project-based learning to help their students prepare for real-world situations. And they've been talking with lawmakers to find out what they can and cannot do to expand their school district, as well as finding the money to make those changes.
Not only do we have to grow physically in our physical plant, but we also have to be able to grow instructionally. We have to be able to find more teachers, which is difficult right now to fill the classrooms that we currently have. And then we also have to, just to have that growth mindset of how are we going to look not only this year or next year, but in 5 and 10 and 20 years as well.
The first day of school in Hardin County will be Wednesday, August 9th. But for kids who are already back at school, Tawana, what's the bus stop looking like this morning?
Well, parents, you're going to have to keep an eye out for those kids. Drivers overall, keep an eye out for those kids, especially south of Louisville, where that fog is a bit more dense. A mix of sun and clouds for later on this afternoon, with highs today into the 80s across our region. Looking into Simpsonville, where we're seeing some of that patchy fog showing up for you. And we're also keeping an eye on the Snyder near Bardstown Road, where we're also seeing some of that fog. So you don't necessarily have to be underneath the dense fog advisory right now to be seeing that fog and have it an issue for this morning. But in terms of any crashes or incidents on the roads, not seeing any of those, so we're good to start off your Friday.
All right, thank you, Tawana. 6:11 now on your Friday morning, and we hope you're hungry today, because if you are, you'll be ecstatic about the 14th annual Kentuckiana Big Green Egg Fest. Wave News reporter Josh Ninke will be there live to show us the mountains of food coming up on Sunrise. Stick with us.
This is Wave News Sunrise.
Well, you should probably have a light lunch today, because the 14th annual Big Green Egg Fest kicks off tonight. Professional and amateur chefs are getting ready to cook some of their very tasty dishes. So let's check in with Wave News reporter Josh Ninke at Brownsboro Hardware to see how things are cooking this morning. What you got going on there now, Josh?
Hey, Olivia, so last time I showed you some tacos and some great dips. Now I've got a pizza to show you. I've got Mark and Tom here joining me. Mark with Big Green Egg itself. Walk me through what's happening back here, because boy, does this smell delicious.
Yeah, that's my breakfast pizza. You can see we're showcasing what is called the pizza wedge system, which keeps the dome of the Big Green Egg elevated, so you have a full visual when you're cooking that pizza. There's no guesswork. It's a fun way to cook pizza, and I think it looks pretty cool. Certainly, that is what we call an egg-accessory. We have some accessories on the table behind me, but Brownsboro Hardware and Paint inside has about 180 different accessories. And we were talking about that earlier. Yeah. There's a whole lot of great things, fun things to buy and have when you own a Big Green Egg.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of these accessories here. You guys have your own pizza boards. What are some of these things here on the left?
We do. Well, we got certainly a knife. We got a nice knife set. We have our pizza peel with screen. We have all sorts of different ways to light the Big Green Egg. We have electrics. We have butane. We also have our standard fire starters. And I'll tell you what, if you ever made a beer can chicken,
oh, that's the way to do it right there.
Things to do. Yeah, you fill that up with beer or apple juice, whatever you like. And that's why you got to come out to Brownsboro Hardware and Paint and just see a whole array of things. And these accessories make great gifts.
Nice.
So if you buy an egg, you know what to put on your Christmas list, anniversary, birthday.
You're set for a long
time. Big Green Egg
time.
makes it. It's just a lot of fun.
Tom, I'm going to have you open up this egg over here. And what was that?
Oh, it's empty now.
Yeah, no, but I was going to say, yeah, we're
see the lump charcoal in there.
That's that lump charcoal.
Right.
That makes a big difference here.
Yeah, we did the sausages.
Sausages on that? Yeah, what do you like to cook on this thing?
I do make my own pickled watermelon rinds. I go down and pick up watermelons, I brine them, put them on cure, can them, wrap bacon around it, a little seasoning.
Oh, that sounds
They're a big
delicious.
hit.
Yeah, I bet.
And I've been experimenting with some breads, too.
Okay, so a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you can do anything on it.
Yeah. And you can try a little bit of everything. We've got the People's Choice competition going on today. You can come and sample. They want you to come out here and eat all this delicious food, and plenty of stuff going on out here tomorrow as well. We'll have all the details for you as far as tickets and everything at wave3.com, because this is an event that you do not want to miss. We got even more coming up for you here in the next half hour. Live in Louisville, Josh Linke, Wave News.
All right, this is a perfect opportunity to just eat so much good food. They are all invited to my next cookout, Josh. All of them.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Thank you, Josh. Tawana, we're just over here like, what? It gets better and better and better.
The pickled watermelon rind with bacon wrapped around it. And then he's also working with breads. Okay, him and I need to talk. We need to figure this out, because all of that sounds fantastic. For those of you heading out this morning, what we're looking at, some busy conditions on the roads. There's a lot of you heading out. This is 64 at Echo Trail. Notice some of that fog off into the distance there. And that's what a lot of us are dealing with. Usually it's A-okay, especially in the metro area. But as soon as you pass a lot of those trees, a lot of those bodies of water, that is where you start to run into the fog. And in parts of Shelby County, especially near Simpsonville, you know those spots that we see the dense fog. That is what we're seeing off into the distance there on our SkyTrack camera. So just be careful as you are heading out. For those of you along and south of 64, that is where the majority of the fog is this morning, and that is where we have the dense fog advisory in place until 10 a.m. In fact, visibility is less than half a mile in most of those spots. So from Fort Knox to E-Town, down to Glasgow, over towards Bardstown, this is where we're really seeing most of the dense fog showing up right now. Remember, 10 is perfect. 10 is where you see all the way down the street with no issues. So we have to keep an eye on that dense fog for the morning hours. For those of you in southern Indiana and even north of 64, you're dealing with some of that patchy fog, but just not as bad as what they're seeing further to the south. The clear skies across the region, along with the light winds and the moisture left over from yesterday's rain, all working together to help with the fog formation this morning. We do have a lot of storms off towards our west, but they're going to stay right there as the day goes along, with high pressure remaining in control. Our forecast shows that we watch this fog developing a little bit more so over the next hour and a half. And once you get past around 8, 9 o'clock, it's going to gradually mix out, and eventually it's going to really be gone by the time each lunchtime for a lot of us. For some of you with the most dense fog, it may take a little bit longer for you. So just keep that in mind. Temperatures right now mainly in the 60s, but for those of you dealing with that dense fog, you're a little bit warmer, upper 60s, low 70s for you right now. We'll watch for a mix of sun and clouds for later on this afternoon, with highs near 90 degrees. And then we'll keep some of those clouds overhead for tonight as we slide down into the 60s for your lows. Looking ahead to tomorrow, highs near 92, a mix of sun and clouds. A stray shower is possible, but most of us will be dry. Sunday is when we could run into some issues. We have a warm front moving in the morning, and this is when we'll see that first batch of rain. Some of these thunderstorms could be on the stronger side, so we'll have to watch that for those of you heading out and about Sunday morning. And here comes the cold front moving in once we get into Sunday evening and Sunday night. This could be our second batch of strong to severe thunderstorms pushing through the area. But the second round will be fully dependent on what we see earlier in the day. So our severe threat for Sunday is conditional. If we can hold on to that rain a little bit longer, that's going to help to lower our severe threat. But if we clear that rain pretty quickly, even see some sunshine, that is when we see that potential for severe weather going up. Now, the cold front moves through Sunday night into Monday morning, so some of that rain will linger into Monday morning. We're all underneath that slight risk of severe weather for Sunday, damaging wind gusts, the potential for hail, some of the main things that we're going to be watching, along with the heavy rain threat. So be weather aware when it comes to that. Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, we're keeping it dry, and your 10-day shows more rounds of those showers and thunderstorms for Thursday and Friday as we keep those highs in the mid-80s. The end of next week and towards the weekend looking a little bit drier as we keep those mid-80s for highs yet again. We'll have much more of Sunrise after the break.
Here's a look at the current Kentucky Lottery jackpots. The Kentucky Lottery, over $4.8 billion in grants and scholarships.
A man arrested in December of 2016 for trafficking cocaine through the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport had a drug conviction overturned in Detroit this week. U.S. District Judge Stephen Murphy III, who is white, declared in court in 2020 that LaRon Liggins, who is black, quote, looks like a criminal to me. Judge Murphy apologized nearly 2 years later when the case was ready for trial. He says he lost his head and was frustrated with the case. The appeals court overturned Liggins' conviction, saying his rights were violated by Judge Murphy. Transgender students in Indiana will have access to bathrooms and locker rooms consistent with their gender identities after a federal appeals court ruling. The judge cited Title IX protections in her ruling. The court opinion said the U.S. Supreme Court will likely step in to hear the case or cases similar to it. Right now, Indiana doesn't have any laws restricting bathroom access for transgender children. A Kentucky political tradition is back this weekend. The annual Fancy Farm Picnic is happening on Saturday. The picnic's political chairman is expecting one of the biggest turnouts they've ever had because of the election year. Every candidate in each statewide race will be there, including Governor Andy Beshear and his Republican challenger Daniel Cameron. Even though it's expected to rain, organizers don't expect that to cool off the hot speeches.
Now we've probably gone through all kinds of different weather. It traditionally always rains on Fancy Farm Week, so this is absolutely normal to us.
This will be the 143rd year for the Fancy Farm Picnic. And Tawana, you're the one to go to for that forecast if it's going to rain.
Yeah, we're going to keep an eye certainly on some dry conditions for us on Saturday. And today we're starting off with those areas of dense fog, especially south of Louisville. But by this afternoon, a mix of sun and clouds across the area. Highs near 90. We'll be back into the upper 80s and low 90s tomorrow. The alert day out for your Sunday as you watch for several rounds of storms. That severe threat is conditional. What happens in the afternoon and evening will be dependent on what we see earlier in the day. So it's going to be so important to be weather aware. Now, some of that rain will linger into your Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, looking dry for right now. But the end of the next work week, trending on the soggier side with those highs still into the mid 80s. And we'll have to keep an eye on those rain chances. The following weekend, though, not looking too bad with highs in the mid 80s still.
Love to hear it. Thank you, Tawana. More than $2 million project is going to bring new water service to a rural part in Bullitt County. The water service will be going to homes on Roe Hill Road, which is right off of Knob Creek Road in Bullitt County. Leaders there say at least 6 organizations have come together to support the project, including Louisville Water. Developers say it'll bring water to 40 homes. It's 6:27, and we continue to follow the details in that officer-involved shooting in Louisville last night. We're breaking down the timeline of events and hearing details from LMPD's new chief. We have the latest ahead on Sunrise.
This is Wave News Sunrise.
Good morning and happy Friday. Thanks for sticking with us here on Sunrise. I'm Olivia Russell and for Shannon Kogan with meteorologist Tawana Andrew. And we made it to Friday.
Yes.
But what's our forecast looking like?
Well, right now it's a little bit rough for some people. That's mainly because of the fog. Not because of any rain, but because of the fog that is very dense. So that means those kids at the bus stops, please look out for them. Just make sure that you're taking it slow as you pass by an area, especially if you know it's a bus stop and there may be kids nearby. Just better to be safe than sorry, right? We have a dense fog advisory out for those of you along and south of 64 until 10 a.m. And this is what it looks like right now in E-Town. 31 W's right there. It's kind of hard to even see the vehicles. All you see is the lights just rolling by because that fog is so dense. In E-Town, we're seeing visibility down to a quarter of a mile. Our sensor in Springfield down to nothing right now. So most of that dense fog south of Louisville, seeing some of that patchy fog even starting to show up at the airport in Louisville where visibility has dropped to 2.5 miles. It was 10 not too long ago. And we're also seeing some more of that fog showing up for those of you further to the north in southern Indiana. So everyone basically needs to be aware and just take it slow for this morning. Eventually, this fog will mix out. It's going to be a gradual thing. We're going to watch it happening after 8, 9, 10 o'clock. And for those of you with the most dense fog, it may take until noon to completely get rid of it. But once we get past that point, we're talking about a mix of sun and clouds across the area. Temperatures jumping into the mid to upper 80s. We could touch near 90 in the metro. There is an alert day for later on this weekend as we head into your Sunday. So that's something to keep in mind. Sunday is when we have those showers and thunderstorms coming back into our forecast, and some of those storms could be strong to severe with wind and hail, some of those threats that we're watching. But what happens Sunday morning could impact what we see later on in the day Sunday night. So a lot to keep an eye on as we head over the next couple of days. I'll talk about the alert day for your Sunday and, of course, the fog that we're seeing right now in just a bit.
All right, we'll be ready for Sunday. Thank you, Tawana. This morning, we're learning more about a shooting involving Louisville Metro Police. New details into the newsroom overnight explain a little bit more about what happened as the investigation continues. We now know one person is dead. This happened late last night off Frankfort Avenue and New Main Street in the Clifton neighborhood. Wave News reporter Kathleen Ninke is breaking down those details this morning. Kathleen, what do we know?
Limited details at this point, Olivia, and as for the scene itself, that's where I am, and there is not much to see. So we're on Frankfort, the block between Bel Air and Vernon, the 2000 block of Frankfort. That's where police say this individual was shot and killed. And it's all open now, but I want to take you back to about 11 o'clock last night, about half an hour after the scene, or after the shooting occurred. According to the chief, the first LMPD officer arrived at about 10:01 p.m. and officers were responding to reports of shots fired in the 2000 block of New Main Street. At 10:19 p.m., officers got on the radio and said shots were being fired at them. 12 minutes later, 10:31 p.m., the officers reported that the person was down near the 2000 block of Frankfort Avenue. That's where I'm standing now. That's what this scene video is from. Officers immediately started first aid, the chief says, and called for an ambulance. That ambulance managed to get this person to U of L, but he died there. Here's the chief.
We are grateful that no one else in the community were hurt, nor were any of our LMPD officers. There is body cam footage of the incident. LMPD is the lead agency on this case.
Interestingly, the chief never refers to the man who died as a suspect, just an individual. So again, it's unclear what the circumstances were in this shooting beyond that police were responding to a shots fired call in the area. The chief does describe that now deceased man, says he's a white man that appears to be in his mid-30s. At this point, we aren't sure if LMPD has not yet identified him, and that's why we don't have the name, or if they're still informing next of kin, and we'll see that name later. So right now we don't have that person who died identified just yet. It's one of the many questions that we hope to have answered today. We'll also be asking a lot of questions about how this investigation will move forward. Anytime there's an officer-involved shooting, anytime someone is shot and killed by LMPD, there's an investigation, internal and external. LMPD is leading up this case. We'll be asking if KSP will also be involved. We'll be asking how the Public Integrity Unit will be involved. We know also the Commonwealth's attorney will be involved too. So many questions that we expect to have answered today, at least some of them, but we aren't expecting that update until after really the midday of today. So we'll bring you those developments just as soon as we have them. Back to you, Olivia, live out here in the Clifton neighborhood. Kathleen Ninke, Wave News.
All right, Kathleen, thank you for those updates there. Two men tried to steal money from an ATM while bank employees in Hillview were working on it. Police are still looking for them now. So take a look at these pictures. Police said this happened at the ATM Limestone Bank on North Preston Highway. Employees told police that two men ran up and tried to steal money out of the machine. When they couldn't get in, they stole the keys from the ATM from one of the employees and got away. You're asked to call police if you recognize these men or the silver SUV they were in. Former U of L basketball player Terrence Williams is sentenced to 10 years in prison for a healthcare fraud scheme. Prosecutors say Williams recruited other people to create fake invoices to take advantage of the NBA's health and welfare benefit plan. He played from Louisville from 2005 to 2009. Williams has been in jail since May of 2022 when prosecutors claim he sent threatening texts to a witness in the case. A group representing construction workers is asking Kentucky lawmakers to enact strong penalties for reckless drivers in work zones. Research from AAA shows since the start of the year, there have been 485 crashes in Kentucky work zones. 8 people have died in those crashes. AAA says one of the biggest problems workers deal with is speeding.
We have a problem with construction zones with people not following the speed limit as they come into a construction zone, not slowing down. If it's not posted, always slow down to at least 55 if you're out on the highway.
A teen construction worker was killed while working on I-75 in Lexington Wednesday night. Investigators said a tire hit him after breaking loose from a car. 6:37 now. Tawana, we want to take it slow this morning, too, with the fog.
Yeah, we're watching that fog. Still dense in many locations, especially south of Louisville. Once we get into the afternoon, a mix of sun and clouds with those temperatures jumping into the 80s for your highs. Now, let's look at the roads and see what we have going on. Thankfully, nothing is happening right now, and that is how we like it on a Friday morning. But, of course, the fog is going to be the big thing. Many portions of Wave Country dealing with it right now, so just take it slow and budget that extra time as you deal with more of that fog across the area.
Home evictions are generally carried out by police officers, but the St. Louis Police Department is actually canceling an eviction of its North Patrol Division station mascot. So this is Felony. So cute there. He's a cat who's lived at the station since 2017. He was originally a stray, but now he's got a fancy custom-made cat house outside of the station. Felony was set to be removed today and actually taken to a new home because some people working there are actually allergic to cats. But department leadership reversed course at the last minute because, I mean, who could say goodbye to that sweet face? They decided to let Felony continue living outside of the station. However, Felony will no longer be allowed inside. I think that's a good compromise there. Give Felony a place to live.
And they need to get a second cat named Misdemeanor. I feel like that's the only way to go.
Right? I mean, instead of getting rid of the one cat, you should just get two cats instead. I like that.
I mean,
like
that's fine, right? And of course, they can't go inside because of people with allergies. We completely understand that. But it's so cute. I love that.
I would hate to be allergic to cats. I think I am allergic to cats, but I have two, so
it's fine.
Yeah.
She's figuring it out. It's all good.
Sweet.
But for those of you heading out, maybe walking those dogs this morning, because you know the cats are not going anywhere, we're keeping an eye on some areas of fog, including as we look towards the airport right now, where visibility has significantly dropped because of some fog in that area. We're going to keep an eye on the fog across the region, and I'll talk about the alert day for Sunday in just 30 seconds. Happy Friday and good morning, everyone. We are keeping an eye on everything going on across the region right now. Still trying. And keyword is trying our best to look into E-Town right now as we continue to deal with all of this fog across the area at the moment. Dense fog advisories in place along and south of 64 until 10 a.m. But most of our area seeing some of that fog. That visibility has dropped quite a bit towards Paoli. Patchy light fog showing up in southern Indiana and in the metro, including towards the airport, where we've really seen that fog developing over just the past half an hour to 45 minutes. Visibility down to just a mile in the Frankfort area. Keep in mind, as you're traveling near those bodies of water, those areas that have a little bit more of those trees, that is where you're going to see most of that fog. But for those of you further to the south, that fog is certainly a lot more dense with visibility less than half a mile in many spots. So take it slow this morning. Part of the reason that we have that fog, the clear skies across the region, along with the leftover moisture from yesterday's rain and the calm winds that we've seen across the area. Some clouds drifting towards us right now. We're going to see more of those clouds as the morning goes along, coming off of those thunderstorms that have been moving from St. Louis towards Paducah since early this morning. The fog is going to gradually mix out as we get past 7, 8, 9 o'clock. But for those of you with the most dense fog, it may take until 11 a.m., maybe even lunchtime to completely get rid of it. And that fog is having impact on temperatures as well. Those of you further to the south, where it's a little bit more dense, this is where we're seeing upper 60s and low 70s right now. But further to the north, where the skies have been clear, we're basically just dealing with low 60s. So that just shows you the impact the clear skies and the fog can really have on our temperatures. As we head into the afternoon, a mix of sun and clouds with highs near 90 for this evening, keeping some of those clouds overhead. Same thing for tonight as we fall down into the 60s for our lows by tomorrow morning. Your Saturday looking pretty good. Highs in the upper 80s and low 90s, a mix of sun and clouds across the area. Cannot rule out a stray shower or thunderstorm for tomorrow, but most of us will be dry. Then we roll into your Sunday. This is when we'll see some more of those showers and thunderstorms coming back our way, courtesy of this area of low pressure and the associated front. So we have the warm front drifting through for Sunday morning. The big question is, how long will that morning batch of rain stick around? Because if it moves up pretty quickly and we even see some sunshine getting through those clouds, that will allow the atmosphere to become unstable again and prime us for the next batch of storms, which could be strong to severe. But if the rain lingers longer Sunday morning, that actually helps to lower our showers severe threat later on in the day. So this is a forecast that we have to watch very closely. The cold front sweeps through Sunday night into Monday morning, so some of that rain will last into the first half of your Monday. By Monday afternoon, things are trending drier and cooler with highs on Monday only in the upper 70s and low 80s, well below average for this time of the year. The middle of next week looking dry, keeping things on the mild side, mid 80s for highs for both your Tuesday and Wednesday, and we stay there temperature-wise through the end of next week and into the upcoming weekend. So it just really shows you how cool we have been and how cool we are going to be as we head over the next 10 days. Some more of those showers and thunderstorms showing up for next Thursday and Friday, and by the following weekend, we dry right back out. But right now, make sure you have that Wave weather app downloaded as we keep an eye on the fog for this morning, and of course that severe threat on your Sunday.
Hey, other than the storms, I think that's a solid 10-day for August.
It really is.
I like it. Thank you, Tawana. UPS union members have started voting on a new labor contract ahead of the meetings this weekend. Leaders of the local 89 Teamsters are hosting meetings to help answer any questions about the new contract. They're happening today and tomorrow. Voting on the new contract started online yesterday. Teamsters leaders recommend their members vote yes to ratify the contract. They'll have until August 22nd to vote. More than 60 professional and amateur chefs are putting the final touches on some recipes for you today. They're taking part in the Big Green Egg Fest at Brownsboro Hardware, and Josh Ninke is live checking out some of the special things happening this year. Josh, what's next? It doesn't seem to end this morning.
Olivia, this is one of my favorite assignments to date. Can't beat this. We've got David here with Team Big Green Tacos. You can enjoy some of their cooking tonight. But first, what do you have cooking for us right now?
Well, on the egg right now, we have got a pork shank that we'll pull later and make tacos. We'll top that with some pickled red onions, some barbecue sauce, and some different kind of toppers that we put on it.
And what do you have queued up for us over here? Of course, tacos. You guys got to have some tacos.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a steak taco. We've got some salmon tacos that we get from Lori's Fish Market, this amazing Verlasso salmon. We've got some queso. We've got a hen. We've got some okra. We've got a pork loin. Just, you know.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have any more tonight.
Yeah, perfect. So they're from some of the folks you can come vote for tonight in the People's Choice Awards. I'm going to go show you something else that they've got going on today, because not only is there an opportunity for you to enjoy some fantastic food, there's also a chance for you to bid on some raffle items over here, buy raffle tickets and whatnot. I've got Dan over here who has a very special picture. Tell me the story behind this amazing picture behind us.
So this photograph of Muhammad Ali I shot when I was a 19-year-old intern at the Courier-Journal. This is being donated by the firm I work for, Price Weber. We are thrilled beyond belief to donate it to such a great cause like Don G's charity. And if you want to find out more about the photograph, it was shot at Trinity High School, like I say, when I was a 19-year-old. Tickets are available for it, but you can Google Dan Dry, Champ, Can I Come In? And a whole story will come right up about it. And as I say, Price Weber is so thrilled to be a part of doing something for this amazing event, the Egg Fest event tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah, there's so much stuff going on. Some of the other items that are up for raffle are sitting here on the. We've got some maker stuff. We got a small Big Green Egg, a bunch of stuff from Yeti as well. So much great stuff, and like I said, so much food too. So things are going on tonight. Things are going on tomorrow. We'll have all that information for you at wave3.com, including how to get tickets. A heads up, buy them in advance. You'll save a little bit of cash. It's a good way to come out here and have an even better time and enjoy everything going on at the Egg Fest going on this year. Live here in Louisville, Josh Ninke, Wave News.
Oh, Josh, thank you. We love supporting Don's charity, A Recipe to End Hunger. That's great. Thank you, Josh. Well, Taylor Swift fans will have another chance to see her in concert. The singer announced 4 new stops on her Eras tour, including a stop in Indianapolis. The show will be in November from the 1st through the 3rd of 2024. Other shows will be in Miami, New Orleans, and Toronto.
Coming up on Today, we are going to take you inside the Coast Guard search and rescue, what it takes to make sure you stay safe all summer long and beyond. It's all coming up only on Today.
This morning, we continue to learn more about a shooting involving Louisville Metro Police. New details into the newsroom overnight explain a little bit more about what happened as the investigation continues. We now know one person is dead. This happened late last night off Frankfort Avenue and New Main Street in the Clifton neighborhood. That's near the Quills Coffee Shop and Veronese Restaurant. Police say around 10 p.m., officers got to New Main Street after being called for shots fired minutes earlier. About 20 minutes later, officers reported being shot at over the radio. Then around 10:30, officers reported the suspect was down near Frankfort Avenue. Police say he was a white man about mid-30s, and he was transported to U of L Hospital, where he later died. The name of the man who was shot and killed hasn't been released yet. The Mount Washington man who police say had stolen human remains decorating his home will be arraigned today in federal court, but not on those charges related to the human remains. According to the criminal complaint, James Knott was part of a ring of purchasing and selling stolen human remains, some of which were tied to the Harvard Medical School scandal, which the FBI also recently busted. Now, 3 weeks later, an official indictment has been handed down and still no charges related to the human remains. He's charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Authorities found an AK-type rifle, a revolver, and ammo at a time when Knott was already a felon, stemming from other gun charges back in 2011. Metro Councilman Ben Reno Weber is hosting a community meeting this weekend about violence near Bardstown Road after a deadly triple shooting early Monday morning. Reno Weber wants as many people as possible to come to Sunday's meeting, so District 8 is working to provide child care and offering free Uber codes. The meeting is Sunday from 5 until 6:30 at Douglas Boulevard Christian Church. JCPS students can get ready for classes next week with Back to School Like a Boss. It's being held at the Chestnut Street YMCA tomorrow from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. There will be hairstylists and barbers there, giving students a fresh cut for the first day of class. School supplies, food vendors, and other refreshments will be available as well. On Sunday, the Kentucky College of Barbering is hosting their annual Week Hair Supply giveaway. They'll be giving out free school supplies and haircuts. It'll be from 2 until 5 at 2600 West Broadway, Suite 407. The school supplies will be given out until all the backpacks are gone. Iconic singer and songwriter Barry Manilow is coming to Louisville later this month. So next week, Wave News Sunrise will be giving away 2 tickets to his concert at the KFC Yum Center on August 21st. So be sure to watch Wave News Sunrise on Monday, August 7th for your chance to win. I hope I win, Tawana.
Oh, you and Shannon both. This is the view into E-Town right now, or the lack of a view that we're seeing as that fog continues to be an issue. Don't forget, we have that dense fog advisory along and south of 64 until 10 a.m. Eastern time, and visibility for many of us has dropped as we approach sunrise. We will see improvements as we get into the late morning, and then a mix of sun and clouds through the afternoon. Highs today in the 80s. An alert day for your Sunday as we're watching that risk of strong severe thunderstorms across the area on Sunday. So make sure you stay weather aware and have that Wave Weather app downloaded. And I bit my lip, so here we go.
Well, it's a good thing the show's over. All right, thanks so much for joining us. Have a great Friday and a great weekend.
Get live streaming news, 24-hour weather, investigations, podcasts, and more. All for free with Wave Now. Watch on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and the Wave News app.